Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Feeling Jade in the Advice subreddit. The post is titled, "Friend brings random guys into our hotel room. I did not know what community to put this in, but I just need help or advice or something before I break down from frustration. It is now Saturday and this all happened on Wednesday. I have already talked to some people about it. For context, my friend invited me to go out with her for a girls' trip, and I was so excited because we have been talking about doing this since we recently graduated this year. We booked this really nice hotel and it was fun for the first few days. One day she decided to go out and wanted me to come with her, and of course I said yes because I did not want her to be alone, and I also just wanted to accompany her. She then made friends with some guys who I could tell right away were a lot older than us. Fast forward, she started bringing them up to our hotel room and I talked to her about it, to which she just said okay, and that was it. Until I started coming out of the bathroom to find the same dudes hanging around in our room, or waking up from a nap to hear them all talking. I called my mom to pick me up early because I just was not about to put up with it anymore. My friend told me to just leave then because I was killing the mood, but I had already told my mom what was going on, and my mom told my friend's mom, so she had to leave too. She called me after I got home to call me a fake friend for ruining her fun. I understand that she is upset with me, but I was genuinely worried about both of our safety. Those friends of hers were not really friends, and I feel like I did both of us a big favor by getting us out of there early. I guess I am kind of stressed because she won't really talk to me. I have not been pushing her to, but I wish we would properly talk, to be honest. I know we are still young and learning, but maybe someone can help me figure out if I am in the wrong for deciding to leave early and ruining her fun." Update. It has only been about 50 something minutes since I posted this, but here is the quickest update I have ever done. We are no longer friends. Talking to her was pretty much like talking to a wall. I do wish her the best and hope she does not continue to do things like this later in life as well. Thanks to everyone who made me feel like I was not crazy for how I felt. That is all the update I have to give. Random Dude said, "I am very happy that the stupidest thing I have done at that age was sleep deprivation because of video games. I have seen plenty of kids the same age, fresh out of high school and away from home for the first time, do some of the dumbest things. I am very proud of OP for realizing how dangerous that was, and I very much hope her friend does too." Red and Nami said, "I was in a situation like this around age 21. My friend told me that some guy at the bar we were hanging out at wanted to hang out in a hotel room. He was older and creepy looking. She would not listen to me, so I grabbed another male friend and made sure we went along to make sure she was okay. Long story short, I learned that my so-called friend was trading sex for drugs when I literally walked in on it. Her parents had money and spoiled her. She just did not feel like working a traditional job back then. Yeah, we are also no longer friends." This next post was made in the AITA subreddit by a user named Family Jewels. The post is titled, "I do not want to share my aunt's jewelry with my cousin's kids. My aunt, who was in her 60s, recently died less than a year after being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She never married and never had children, and I am one of 6 nieces and nephews. Both my sister and female cousin Nina are married with children. My male cousin Caleb, who is in his 40s, is married with 2 daughters. Neither of my younger brothers is married. They are largely irrelevant to this story. I am single and have no intention of having my own children. Background: my aunt was a doctor and went into palliative care when she was diagnosed. She wanted to enjoy the time she had left, mostly by traveling. I was close to graduating from surgery residency when she was diagnosed. She asked if I would be willing to be her private physician after graduation, accompanying her on her travels, prescribing her pain medications, and so on. She paid me a little bit more than I had been making as a resident, paid for my travel, contributed toward my student loans, and put me on the deed to her house, where I moved in with her. I also moonlighted and did locums when we were not traveling and after she got too sick to travel so I could keep up my surgery skills. Long story short, even with the time I was not making a full surgeon salary, I still benefited financially from the agreement. My aunt had been a doctor in the Foreign Service and had accumulated a lot of stuff during her career, including Middle Eastern carpets, furniture, silk and cashmere scarves, art, jewelry, and so on. Everything was open to all her nieces and nephews to split as we saw fit, except the jewelry, which was left specifically to her nieces. There was surprisingly little drama when splitting any of it. We even had everything appraised, so we were all in agreement on the value of what we were receiving. My sister Nina and I all have different enough tastes in jewelry that we easily agreed on how to split the nice pieces. Most of the costume jewelry was set aside for my niece and Nina's daughter for when they are a little older. Here is where Caleb comes in. He said that his daughters deserve to have some of my aunt's jewelry as well. My sister and Nina said they are okay with splitting the costume jewelry to include his daughters, but he said that his daughters deserve some of the nice pieces as well. My niece will probably get my sister's jewels someday and possibly mine, and Nina's daughter will probably inherit what Nina got. So Caleb says it is not fair that my niece and Nina's daughter will get more than his daughters. Caleb also says that since I got the house, the furniture in the house that no one else wanted got to travel with my aunt, and she paid off a large portion of my student loans, I should share the wealth. My siblings are staying out of it, and Nina says it is ultimately my choice, but that what Caleb says is not wrong. Am I the asshole for holding to my aunt's will? Is this a hill worth dying on? I have a great relationship with my cousins and siblings and do not want this to sour that. Update. The 6 of us got together over the 4th of July. I was able to disperse the last of the proceeds from selling the art, rugs, antiques, and so on that none of us wanted. That ended up being a few $1,000s each. Not life-changing money for any of us, but nice to have. I will probably use it to go on a solo trip in my aunt's honor once I accrue enough vacation time now that I am working full-time again. I had decided based on your comments that I would offer any of my nieces, existing and future, the opportunity to shop from my inherited jewelry for their weddings. Before I could even present that solution, Caleb was very apologetic about the way he had acted. He was feeling guilty that he had not been able to spend more time with our aunt before she died, small children at home, work obligations and so forth, and jealous that I had had more flexibility to travel with her during those months, and that made him lash out. It turns out that his wife had essentially read him the riot act when he complained to her that their daughters were not included. She reminded him that their daughters have her whole side of the family, that jewelry is traditionally passed down female lines, and the whole bit. He was quite embarrassed by how childish he had acted. But I did present that solution, and both Nina and Emma thought it was such a good idea that they said the same. When the next generation of girls gets married, they can choose from their inheritances too. So all is well. Thank you all for your support and kind words. I am not going to go no contact with any of my siblings or cousins. I still miss my aunt. Work is not terribly exciting, but it is a paycheck, and it is nice to see that my surgical skills did not slip irreparably. Darkness said, I like this OP, 1, for being real about how much of a non-issue this was and being legitimately concerned about why it suddenly became one, and 2, for being able to walk away from it while possibly getting something deeper with the kiddos further down the line, making it a happy solution. Also, poking fun at Liz tropes is absolutely hilarious and made me giggle here in bed while I am homesick today. This final post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Quiet Lead. The post is titled, I forced my husband to take in his estranged daughter despite his wishes. So, my husband and I are currently cooling down from a fight. He called me a few things, including asshole. Everything is a bit of a mess right now, so emotions are running high, but I really need a sanity check and maybe some fresh arguments because I feel like we are going in circles. Long story long, my husband had a daughter when he was in his early 20s with his ex-girlfriend. They were not good for each other, fought a lot, and there was just emotional abuse. So they split just before the child was born. He has been very open about this in our relationship and how he regrets not being more careful to avoid getting her pregnant because they were young, immature, and foolish. He never really got to build a relationship with his daughter, as her mother would keep the child from him and made it clear she did not want him in their life. He has paid child support the entire time, but it has been an uphill struggle throughout our relationship. When we met, my husband had matured greatly and was eventually ready to start a family. So I have seen this mostly from the sidelines. When our first child was born, his ex asked for more child support because, in her words, if he can afford a new child, he can afford to pay more. She is always extremely nasty in any conversation they have, and she taught their daughter to act the same way. He has tried to at least get a phone call on Christmas, and last year, his daughter said some truly awful things during that call, calling him a deadbeat and other hurtful things, telling him she hates him and never wants to get to know him. She is 13 now, so I know that her mother is still influencing her a lot, but she is also reaching an age where he cannot just say that she does not know what she is saying or how hurtful it is. So my husband has basically given up trying. None of them want him to try, so he has resigned himself to that. A few days ago, he got a call. The core of it is that his daughter told a teacher she was being sexually abused at home. Child Protective Services showed up and her mother disappeared. They want her to come live with us. My husband wants to decline. He has no relationship with this child. She seems to hate him. We have younger children, and honestly, we have no experience dealing with trauma like this. He believes she would be better off with a foster family who knows what they are doing. I told him there is no way this child should be abused, abandoned, and then rejected by the only family she has. We are taking her in, and we will figure out the rest. That poor child needs some stability, not to be tossed around in the system. Currently, we are not in agreement, and I know that he has the final say since I am just his partner and not related to this girl. Am I being unreasonable in thinking this is a huge red flag and that he needs to step up to be a father to her too? Edit. Okay, this has been a bit overwhelming to come back to, but I will try to clear up a few things. I am aware I have no legal say in the matter, but my husband and I are a team and a family, so my opinion matters to him. Neither of us has experience with the foster system, so we are really just going off what we think we know. I want to thank everyone who has been able to elaborate a bit more on this. Yes, my husband was a deadbeat dad in the beginning. Later on, he was able to see that they were a really bad match, but that he should probably have tried harder. Once visits became an option, he tried, but she would forget, not be home, or say it was not the date they agreed on, and things like that. Maybe he could have gone through the courts, but he just gave up, really. Hindsight is 2020, but unfortunately, that does not change the situation now. Mini update. We sat down to talk about why the discussion had gone off the rails, not touching the subject itself, but just why we ended up in a screaming match. He told me that he was completely overwhelmed by this and was in a panic. According to him, the Child Protective Services worker made it sound like he could take her in, or she would go into a system that, as one commenter colorfully put it, spits out drug-addicted prostitutes. He feels really guilty for letting this happen to his child. Even if she hates him, he feels like he should have done something to prevent this. I guess I was too focused on how badly off his daughter might be right now to truly see that he was hurting just as much. We have agreed to talk about it again in the morning in a more calm setting and try to get more facts about what can be done. It is about 2 o'clock in the morning and I am exhausted, but we have both called off work tomorrow so we can take the time we need. I hope there is a positive update in the near future. Update. Things are pretty hectic right now, but many people were kind enough to take time out of their day to offer advice and share their own experiences, and I want to say thank you for that. I am not going into details. There is much more going on than I am sharing here, so I can assure you that divorce is nowhere near being considered for us. We have had several tough talks over the past few days, but once we got past the worst panic, we were much more on the same page than we thought. My husband has agreed to take responsibility for his daughter and is looking into an emergency custody arrangement for her. We are not trying to pretend to be a family as some suggested. He is going to take legal charge of her and keep her out of the system. She will not be living with us right now. We have contacted an inpatient therapy clinic that can take her in to begin the healing process. My husband is taking leave from work and leasing a second car so he can be there as much as necessary or possible. He knows she might never consider him him her father or even family, but from now on, we will be her support system. She will not have to depend on a poor, overworked Child Protective Services contact, random legal guardians, or homes constantly changing. If she needs therapy, we will get it for her. If she needs legal counsel, we will get it for her. If she needs the system, we will help her navigate it. If she wants to live with a foster family, we will support that. We will make it clear that our support is not conditioned on her playing family with us. She never has to set foot in our home if she chooses not to. We know that she might never appreciate any of it, but that is all right too. We have some savings we can use, and we are setting up a college fund for her as well. It will not make her wealthy, but we hope to be able to cover at least some expenses when the time comes. We are starting family therapy as well to begin talking to our children about the fact that they have a sister and that their father will be gone much more for a while. My husband will be starting therapy as well to work on the guilt and hurt from this whole situation. Update 2. I am not going to go into details, but kind people have reached out and offered help and advice, and I want to thank you all for that. We did not send my stepdaughter off to a mental asylum indefinitely. She was with professionals who could make an in-depth assessment of her health and outline a plan for us while starting the process. My husband was there as much as his daughter and her doctor wanted him to be. Her mother showed up. There is a criminal investigation going on, and my stepdaughter has, with the help of her therapist, testified. We are so proud of her and hope this can be a stepping stone for her to move forward. She lives with us now, and we are working closely with professionals on how to make it work. It is not perfect, it is not easy, and it is not fun, but it is not something we would change. And I cannot believe I have to say this, but yes, we asked her what she wanted all the way through this. We have not forced her to do anything. Update 3. Last September, I turned to Reddit after having an argument with my husband. We found ourselves in a difficult situation after it came to light that his daughter from a previous relationship had been sexually abused and her mother disappeared. A lot of people weighed in and reached out, and I got some very different perspectives on the whole thing. This is mostly a good update, but there are obviously a lot of bad things popping up along the way. I cannot believe I have to spell this out, but we have spoken with my stepdaughter, we will call her Anne, about every step of the way, what she wanted, how we could make it work. And yes, we have spent a lot of money on this. Thankfully, we were in a decent place financially, and my in-laws have been helping out as well. I guess bad news first. Her mother and her boyfriend showed up eventually, and there is a trial in the works. I cannot say too much, but I honestly think my husband was ready to go to jail for murder at several points. Anne testified. My husband was and is there with her permission. Anne's therapist alerted us and the police that he suspected she had been drugged on some occasions, based on the things they talked about. My husband came home from that meeting and started researching how to get a gun. Unfortunately, there is no real chance of her mother and boyfriend going to jail nearly as long as they deserve, which is forever in my opinion, but they will most likely get some jail time at least. Therapy is going well, all in all. Anne's therapist has facilitated some sessions between Anne and my husband, which have been tough for both of them. A lot of things were said. As the title says, Anne lives with us and has since she felt ready to, after being in inpatient care for a few weeks. We cleared out the office and got the biggest lock we could find for her door. It is symbolic mostly, but she can lock that door as much as she wants, on her terms. We only ask that she keep it fairly clean and no smoking or drugs. She is welcome at all meals but not forced, and I always make enough so that she can have it later if she wants. We did not see much of her in the first months, which was pretty much expected from what we were told by our family therapist. One of us is always home and available. My husband got more work from home days, so we can make it work. We do not force her to interact with her step-siblings, but she is mostly neutral towards them. We have implemented a no touching others without asking permission rule, and sometimes the kids slip up and forget in the heat of the moment, but she has taken it super well so far. A few weeks back, our boy ran over to the television while she was watching something and demanded I put on his favorite show. I told him no, Anne is using the television and he has to wait his turn. Without any prompting, Anne told him it was okay, switched over, and watched an episode with him. He was ecstatic and demanded another episode, which they watched before I pried him off the couch so she could watch her thing. I thanked her and assured her that she was free to say no in the future, and she said she did not mind really. So yeah, she is not skipping school more than other teenagers. I know she has some Snapchat streak with some of the girls in her class that they do every day, saving up for a new iPhone, stuff like that. Again, I am not including all the details of our lives, obviously. There are bad days and fights and yelling too. But I am cautiously optimistic that Anne is going to turn out all right in the end. She is still not calling my husband dad and probably never will, but that is fine. We just want her to be able to live her life the best she can. Ginger Anarchy said, I understand why they got flack for the inpatient care, but given the years of neglect from OP's husband and the level of abuse she endured, it was probably the best choice to go through that before bringing her into a new home with a family she has every reason to resent. The fact that he took time off work to be near the facility and show her that he was making an effort probably helped ease the transition as well. Safe Gazelle said, glad OP did not listen to Reddit's insane advice, and he has no relationship with the child. Yeah, because he did not try to build one. But let us doom a 13-year-old for life because she understandably does not really like him. Protecting the husband is the priority after all. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.